Hi guys, it's Kim. I'm back here again with another weekly Flosstube update. Today is the 14th of October, Columbus Day, here in the United States, and this is Flosstube number 38. My husband and my youngest daughter are in the house because there's no work on federal holidays if you work for the military or the government, and because my daughter goes to an in-home preschool that's on the base. They don't work on federal holidays either. So just my oldest daughter's in school today. We did get snow this weekend, but not as much as they were expecting. It was blizzard strength winds. We had gusts over 50 miles an hour, but for a long time there was no snow to go along with it. And because it was blowing so hard, it's hard to, kind of quantify how much snow we got. I did see somewhere that someone measured 7 inches, but I'm not sure how you get that because in some places we could still see the grass poking through the snow, but in other places, like against our garage door, we had about 2 feet of snow drifted up against it. So it was fun. The roads were icy for a little bit, but all the snow has melted off any surfaces that were shoveled. We have big areas of grass that we can see again, so there's still some snow to play in, but I don't think it's going to stick around maybe a couple more days. We're supposed to get almost back up to 50 this week, so it won't stick around too long. Okay, stitchy stuff. Last week in the School of Magical Stitches and Literature was about apparition, and we were going to be splinching because it was our first attempts at apparition. Now in Ravenclaw we splinched 4 times, so we had to split 1,000 stitches over 4 pieces in increments of 100, 1 point per 100, and then of course before and after pictures. So I did my 4 pieces. My first one was Friendship Compass by Glennon Place. This is a freebie in Cheryl's Facebook group where there is no color key. You pick your own colors. The darker the symbol, the darker the color you're supposed to pick, and there are beads. I picked these colors from my grandmother's floss stash of unmarked floss, so I don't know what colors these are, but I matched a quilt that's on the guest bed that you guys are sitting on right now. This is a piece of little oatmeal Ada that's super soft. You can't hardly see it, but there are 4 corners now in ecru. So I finished this last corner down here on the bottom left, and I started the outer border. You see that little bit of green down there? That pattern will go all the way around in both green colors, and then I'll start adding the beads. So this corner of ecru plus that little bit of green, that was 300 stitches because I wanted to get that ecru done. So 300 stitches on that. And I put links to patterns below, so if you want to join the Facebook group for that pattern, there's all kinds of photos that people have done, like fall colors, Christmas colors. You can pick anything, any theme for that one. So the next one, I wanted to get some more stitches put into Sunday Delight by Randall Spangler. This is tent stitch, so I had to double everything. I only put 200 tent stitch in here for 100 regular stitches. And let me fold this up so you can see it. All I did, focus, is I added some more of these different blues. This is the bowl for the bowl of ice cream. Your banana, the start of the dragon. So I just added some more blue in here. Real quick, 210 stitches on that one. And then Hogwarts Travel Poster was my main piece for last week. Because I'm using this for by the numbers October for the 1200 amount in full coverage Fanatics. This is by Country Magic Stitch on Etsy by custom order only. So I needed 2,400 tent stitches on this one. I ended up doing 810 stitches, which is equal to 400 stitches. Plus, last night I watched Half-Blood Prince for the extra credit task, and I did about 700 more tent stitches. And then this morning, for this week's homework, I did all this purple here and along this cliff. There's and then down here for the little roof of the hut. And there's my 400 purple stitches for this week's homework, which is about the pensieve and all the memories that they experienced in the pensieve. So there you go. I finished Hogwarts School. I did, let's see if you can see the blue shading to the gray letters. And then if you can tell that from here to the R looks a little different, that those have been filled in. So since this is a full coverage piece, I think it's 3756. It's real light blue. So just, that's all I have left in this space, is to fill this in. And then you can see all the different purple stitches I did for this week. And that is for the first task, which is the Relatio spell. Was it Morphine used? I can't remember. Voldemort's relative used on the Minister of Magic when he visited. And it shoots purple sparks at your wand, so that's why we had to work in purple. And then I did 400 tent stitches for my on Trick or Treat for my 4th project for last week's homework, so that was equal to 200 stitches, so that equaled my 1,000. Plus I did 2,000 tent stitches for a dragon heartstring for one of the extreme tasks, which is things linking wand elements, if you will, different types of wood, different types of cores, that kind of thing. There are dragons on Trick or Treat. This is my 90-day piece for Full Coverage Fanatics 90-day challenge for quarter 4. Again, I'm doing this one all black extreme cross country first. And so you got your little dragon, so your dragon heartstring. I counted 2,000 tent stitches for that one. So far for the month, I have got 3,700 tent stitches in here. I'm also using this for by the numbers 2,400, so I need 4,800 tent stitches, so 900 more to meet that. Of course, I'm going to well exceed that. Also, because for this week's homework, I'm going to be using Trick or Treat for 4 out of the 7 tasks. So let me talk about those in a minute. First, let's show you what it looks like. So last week I had finished this dark part of the bush and started on the cobblestone fence post. Well, now I've finished that up to the page break, and I'm working on the iron fence. So a few more of those for the row finish on that one. And there's the whole thing so far. And then I'll scroll up to the next row of pages. So for this one, for this week's homework, a piece that you would enter and win an award on. Well, when this thing's done, let's see, it's going to be 25 inches wide by 35.5 inches high. So it's going to be enormous. And you think it's going to look like this piece of art. So yeah, I think this would win an award. It does have a house on it. And something that has food on it that you give as a gift. Well, there are pumpkins. And I think pumpkin pie is a good gift, right? So this is food that you would give as a gift. And also, since Tom Riddle / Voldemort collected things, you have to stitch on a piece that has an element of something that you collect. And then for a bonus point, actually put a picture of your collection on your post. Well, I haven't added to my collection recently, not since college, but I have a collection of little pewter dragons. And there's dragons in this piece. So I will be doing 800 stitches worth or 1610 stitches on this for homework this week, which will be simple since I'm working on it every day anyways, and I got over 2,000 stitches done on it in the past week since last you saw it. So one last view on that one. Hopefully next time, well, it should be with 1,600 more stitches, I'll finish this row and we'll scroll up next week. Okay, and I've already had a good stitching day today on Monday, so I've already completed, I showed you the purple task, and then another task that I completed was a whip that you don't want to end. And because Voldemort didn't want his life to end. So even though it's a new start, I only started last month, I don't want the Templar prophecy to end. I started this one down here in this corner with the lions. So it's 200 stitches per task. I got my 200 stitches. I got a parked thread I need to move out of the way. So I carried, this lion was about halfway done. So I carried the border all the way up here and I finished my lion. So there's 200 stitches on that one. And again, you can't tell in the video, but this fabric is a very, very pale blue, like 762 DMC. So still really enjoying this one. But it's got to take its turn along with everything else. And then for the last task in the homework is a whip that you think was cursed. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that a summer ball at the beginning was very cursed because it took me about 4 times starting it before I could actually continue working on it. I had fabric issues, I had gridding issues. So this is my Sandy Littlejohns of Cross Stitch Arts. You can this website does no longer exist, so look up Cross Stitch Arts on Facebook or Patreon if you are interested in this pattern. Okay, I finished page 2 for Page Finish Mania, and I haven't touched it since then because it took me so long and I had to work on it so many days in May to get that page finished. I kind of burnt out on it. So I'll be starting a new page for my 200 stitches on this one. I haven't stitched on it yet today, but I have been gridding the page. So I've got 2 more vertical lines, and I gotta do all my horizontal lines, and then I'll put in 200 stitches on her yellow dress for that one. So, and I'll have it out of the Q-snap next week so you can see the whole thing. And then, for the rest of my weekly plans, I have 1 extra credit task left, and that is to work on a piece that has a Horcrux. And as I've told you before, I'm going to work on Friends Forever by Ann Stokes on that one because little elf queen is wearing a headpiece that looks like a diadem. So I'll do my 1,010 stitches on that one. And then I'll probably pull out Big Red Ship of Life for my October effort into it. And then after that, we'll see. Now, something I forgot to show you last week. Some family friends were visiting the United States from Norway. My husband's mom's side, so my mother-in-law, is of Norwegian and Scandinavian descent. So we have lots of family friends in Norway. And while they didn't come here, they were, touring other parts of the country with my mother-in-law and her husband. They did bring our family some gifts. So they know that I cross stitch. So they brought me this kit from Permin, which is a map of Norway. And all the different little elements in it. It's really cool. I was really happy to open this in the mail. And since it's a kit, it does have, looks like 14 or 16 count. Let's see what it says. It does not say there on the front. It says it's going to be 12.5 inches wide, or 12.5 inches long by 22.5 inches. 12.5 wide by 22.5 long. So that's pretty big. So, Flosstube itchy nose. And then for the girls, they gave us 2 of these little, they're kind of like shot glasses. They're identical. It says Trolls of Norway. And it goes all the way around. And then on the inside, you got the little 2 trolls kissing from the inside of the tree that are right there kissing from the outside of the tree. So it's right on the inside of that. So you have here and there. And then they gave my husband a non-Norwegian shot glass. And if you looked at my Instagram Spartan Stitcher this past week, I did fully finish the Shakespeare quote piece, and I sent that off to my friend. She's currently almost 39 weeks, and the doctor doesn't think she'll make it another week, so I had to get that off immediately. I actually don't need to open that. But to fully finish it, I did it all myself. I bought everything from Hobby Lobby, one of their open frames. Not like a full picture frame with the back and everything, but one of their completely open frames where it's just the wood. I bought one of their pre-cut mats and pre-cut glass. And then I've seen this in somebody's video, but I don't remember who it is. I had to ask where to find it because it wasn't in the same aisles as the regular picture frames. It is in that corner of the store, so if you go more in the aisles along the back side of the store, just a few aisles over, with all the art supplies. This is called a point driver. It looks like a staple gun, but instead of staples, it shoots the little pieces that hold the back into the picture frame. And there's 2 different types that they put in the box. There's a rigid and a flexible, depending on the wood of your frame. And obviously the rigid isn't the type that you can easily bend to take the picture frame out. And of course it was on sale too. This was so easy to use. I didn't even have to ask my husband, so I can continue to frame while he's after he deploys, and it's going to save me a lot of money. So even though it was, $38, I think it's worth every penny. And it turned out really cute. So go to my Instagram if you want to see how that turned out. I did pick the frame and the mat based on what the baby's room looks like and how it's decorated. So everything ties in really well. And they were, my friend has a family account for her older daughter. And so she follows me on Instagram, and she was able to see it. And she said, that looks so cool. It's going to match everything really well. So because of the snowstorm, it was supposed to get there Saturday, but it's not there yet because the Bismarck airport was actually closed during the snowstorm because they got so much snow down there. So she will get it tomorrow, or today in the mail. Today's Monday. So that's that part. I totally skipped a piece. As I was going through my whips, I'm looking around and I just realized that because it wasn't in the same pile as everything else. It was because it wasn't part of the weekly homework. It was an extra credit task. I was working on Class Schedule SAL by Armada Designs for the extra credit task of a piece that's part of a collection of 8 pieces or more. And so I finished that, and I was so close to finish, I just kept going. So here's my finish. Class Schedule SAL. This is on 28 count Monaco that I dyed myself. And I modified, some blocks are heavily modified or completely recharted by me, or have just color changes or little changes, little additions. So let's do the whole piece first. This was a 2018, let's make sure it's focusing. 2018 Mystery Sal. So the title and the blocks were released in the fall of 2017. I started it in September 2017 and did all the blocks. I kept up with it even through the recharting through May of 2018. And then because I wasn't completely happy with my charms block, this went into UFO status for a long time. Until I picked it up this year because it fit some of the more difficult weekly homeworks we've had in Magical Stitches so nicely and easily. So I picked it back up, fixed, pulled out my charms block and redid it. So I was happier with it and then kept going. I worked on this 29 total stitching days and 14 of those were this year. Through the May block, it only took me a day per block. Once I had it planned out what I was going to do, like I'd chart it on my computer software one day and then stitch the whole thing the next day. So let me close up on the recent blocks. So there you have Buckbeak with the Pygmy Puff and the Spider for Aragog and the Divination block. This one, the design is as charted, but the colors are not, because this was my last block that I had to do, and I had completely forgotten that this whole thing was charted in DMC, regular DMC, except for the Divination block, which had a variegated DMC for the majority of the crystal ball. It was a variegated gray, so different shades of gray, and I was at that point when it was 50 miles an hour wind gusts outside. I was not going to drive into town 25 minutes when the road conditions were about to be red, which means no travel advised, just to buy a color. And I do have some fancy floss and some variegated unlabeled stuff in my stash. None of it were grays. And so Anne helped me out. I was thinking just, stitching in different regular DMCs, gray shades, just picking and choosing and trying to be random about it. But Anne said, well, you're stitching 2/2, right? Why don't you just blend it? Make a blended needle. So that's what I did. It's still kind of hard to see, but I used 2 of the newest gray colors. I think it was like the 03 and 04, or 2 and 4 or something like that for that one. So this piece is done. I'm glad to get it off my whip list. This means now that my 8 oldest whips are all full coverage. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this piece. It's going to sit in my closet for a while until I figure it out. So, but it's done. And then the last thing I have to show you, because it is Halloween season, is some of my Halloween decor. So you get to see some finishes. The first piece is not cross-stitching. It is quilting. But it was my grandmother's. I have a couple of her... She was a quilter. So I have a couple of, regular size quilts and decorated quilted pieces. So this is one of them. I have no idea how old it is or the design or anything, but I think it's super cute. A little bear, wizard bear, pulling his pumpkin offspring in a little wagon with the fall colors. I'll show you the back. So it's got a pocket for a dowel to hang it by. And then you can see the quilting. I did not iron this like I probably should, so it's folded when I put it away for the season. But that is one of my grandmother's quilted pieces that I like to hang up and enjoy around Halloween time. So it still kind of smells like her house. So I enjoy that. And then the other two, the cross stitch pieces I have are both by Glendon Place. This first one I finished in 2017. It's cruising, as you will, as it's called, with an N apostrophe with no G. It's stitched on 28 count cashel in the color Shale by Picture This Plus. So this is not completely as charted. There were some like beaded stars and such around the witch that I did not do. It does I think this is Weeks Dye Works in the moon. And I'll get close up so you can see some of the beadwork. Get her long sleeves with the beads there. I did this framing myself. This is another one of the open frames from Hobby Lobby. And I pinned it on foam core. And then I did enter this in the Nebraska State Fair in 2018 before we moved. I don't think it won any ribbons. I can't remember. I didn't write anything on the back about ribbons won, but it's pretty cool. I enjoy it. So just a rough wooden frame on that one. And then the other Glendon Place I have is Frank's Family Portrait. This one I stitched when I was living in Louisiana. So it is framed by Knots and Needles, which is the L&S in Bossier City. Linda is the shop owner there. This one has glass in it. I love these mats that she cut. We didn't even talk about that when I chose the frame and the mats. I didn't know that she was going to do the special corners. Trying not to get as much glare. There you go. You can kind of see it. This is stitched on the Murky, but I believe, yeah, that's the Lugana version of Murky by Picture This Plus, so it's not as bold in the modeling as the linen version is. But I really enjoyed stitching this. Again, the moon is in that same Weeks Dye Works as the other one. Try to get close without Frank's wife has some charms for jewelry. This one was fun to stitch. So there you go. And I think the frame is pretty cool. It's a worn bright green color with the purple and black mats. So we enjoy hanging this one up come Thanksgiving time too. And actually in our previous house in Nebraska, this hung up in my daughter's room, my youngest daughter's room, year round. I didn't have anything else to hang there for the moment, and it was just fun. A fun piece. So that's Frank's Family Portrait. I did enter this one in the fair as well, but that would have been 2017, so I really have no clue if this won anything. I'd have to look at my notebook to see. So that is everything that I have this week. So happy stitching, everybody. Thanks for all the new subscribers and comments as usual. And I hope everybody else enjoys fall weather. Hopefully it's not too hot where you are. All right, guys. Bye.